Wow. My goodness. That was.
Come on, get it all out your system. Go ahead, y'all. No, because you don't get that kind of opportunity to give people who you respect their due. So that's what this is. They're giving you your due for what you did. Always take your due, baby. Always take your due. So you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
She ready?
I got a
Ready.
question for you.
Okay.
Broad City. And its final episode at the end of March. When you look at it now in the rear view, did it end too soon?
You bitch.
I don't think so at all. I think it ended perfect time.
Me too. I think it really is keeping each episode rich and keeping each episode valuable. You know, I feel like I think I like that it's hard to see it go. You know, we didn't want it to be, we didn't even want anybody to see it coming. You know, we really wanted to be in control of it. Yes. Thank you. Emotion police, you know what I mean? Two things. Yeah, it's bittersweet, but I'm like, I feel satisfied. You know, we've been talking about feeling like really creatively satisfied, and also like, I don't know what the word is to summarize this, but the taking care of our audience emotionally, we tried to do in the 5th season.
Well, I think from the beginning, the funny was always the most important part that we were focusing on. How can this dynamic, how can we really like pull out everything, and how can it be the funniest it can be? But in the 5th season, I think there was so much more we wanted to get into emotionally between the characters and what it's like for a real friendship to grow and change. And that was really important to us. And that ended very quickly for them, you know? And so it was a very meta thing on purpose.
Right.
I love that about the priorities. Like that our priority used to be, I really like your thoughts and your ideas, Abby.
Thank you.
You're smart and you're beautiful. Give it up, smart and beautiful. Come on. It a queen. But I like that. It's like our priorities, you know, started in comedy, hard comedy. And I think we were able to then take on more, which was, I don't know, just a richer mental, emotional landscape in the show.
You knew you had the comedy down.
Right.
And you knew early on the comedy was there.
Right.
The challenge was, what else can you bring?
Right.
You know, because sometimes you want it to, you know, you write something, you think, I don't want this just to live in here. I want it to spread out, and I want it to spread to other people. And did you find that it got easier to allow the comedy to spread and maybe not be exactly what you thought it was when you wrote it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, bizarrely, we would read a review and be like, it was about that. It was about that, too. You know what I mean? Because it's up for interpretation. So that's how it also expanded, where it's like, we had this intention or intentions in a scene or an episode, and then it's totally interpreted in another interesting way. But for me, that was where I was like, wow, it takes on a whole other world once it airs.
And I think in third season we were starting to get used to it and see the pattern in writing, then shooting, then editing, and I do think that we were excited to let something play on set versus trying to trap it in the thing, like you're saying, that we originally thought it would be.
So when the dynamic between the two of you is really wonderful to watch.
Bittersweet.
Was it like that from the giddy up? Sorry, from the beginning?
Yeah, we met in an improv practice group, random night of the week. And I had been going for a couple weeks, and Ilana and her brother Elliot, who's on the show as well, came. They were invited by our friend Tim Martin, who played Dale, the redheaded ex-boyfriend of Ilana's. And we were the only women on the team, and we went to a bar, McManus, afterwards, and it was just right away.
Right.
And I felt, I don't have any friend like this. Like, this is new.
Somebody who gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just quick.
It clicked right in. We were like, this bitch, huh?
Ah,
You
we
know
were
what I mean?
like, what?
There was something also I felt like, we were so young. We were like 19 and 22 or something, but there was something also that I think I felt older. I felt more like, I felt like an old Jew with this person. I felt I had this agency, and something about where it was like I clicked into myself and was like, that's who I am. It was, I think, the context of each other that clarified our individual vibes we had going on.
When did the writing start?
I think we did improv together for 2 years on this team, didn't write anything.
And we met in 2007, right?
2007.
And then
I think in 2009, I had done a sketch show, and it didn't move
At
forward.
UCB. I mean, failure after failure
We just
at
couldn't get on
UCB.
any.
Losing money,
Yeah.
not getting picked for a damn thing.
And-
Really, thank
I-
God.
yeah.
It was great.
And I did this show, and I was so excited about it, and then they were like, we don't want to continue. And I would think
No, the person, you got notes back, and you were like, yeah, notes. And your partner wasn't into rewriting notes. And I was like, come on, man, that's engagement. I mean, they're engaging with the project. I was like, yeah. And I was like, I mean, I love a note. I love
was like, you
notes. I was like, hell yeah, I love notes. It's the process, baby. and we were just like kind of dancing around each other. And I think I was like, what if we did something? You and me, I don't know. And then she like whispered back, yeah, I think that would be kind of cool. And we eased into it. And then we met in a pizza shop, on a disgusting pizza shop on 7th and like 30th, and wrote this. I mean, it's good, but you know what I mean. It's like filthy. It's like thick film of filth on the floor type of thing, but like delicious pizza. But we just started writing these concepts down, this spreadsheet, and we used it for years, the spreadsheet, and
truly it's the whole last episode is about not being able to get eggs after 11. First thing we thought of. Whole last episode.
that was the first
yeah.
filled cell
We were
on
like,
the
it's
spreadsheet.
nuts that they won't make eggs, right? And we were like, we are good together.
We were like, we have such a new intonation, because it's like, what's the deal with eggs? God, we're geniuses.
But after that night, it was like, we haven't stopped.
Yeah.
It was like, this is it. This is the way. We're going to do this. This is so much fun. And yeah, I mean, we wrote something else last week, all week.
Yeah.
We kind of can't stop.
Right.
Yeah.
So when...
Ooh.
Ooh. Wanted to tease that up there.
Nice. Press queen. Come on. She know the machine. She gets it.
So this ride that you've been on, did it turn out to be the ride you thought it was going to be? Is that gas, or did you like the question?
I don't think I could have ever imagined this right now.
Literally this moment. every step of the way, like, honestly, I have learned what life is from Broad City. That's right. This moment is, it's still crazy. It's crazy to, I couldn't have imagined it. You know, I do think that I feel like we knew it had legs, this dynamic, and we knew that we were really hard workers and that we were figuring out how to put something together, but this is just bigger than what I knew life to be.
Right.
Well, at first we thought, oh, well, this will get us staffed on a show as writers.
Right.
And then we were like, wait, could we be in it? and then a lot of people thought no. And we were like, we're gonna do it anyway. And yeah, it's just been sort of thing after thing that has kind of been an incredible ride.
Because like we wrote this pilot and we were gonna go and pitch it, and then Amy Poehler came on board, and that was crazy. That was insane. I mean, it's still, God bless, that was still insane. It's still nuts, you know. But then I always feel like with Broad City, like the work has been the reward, and really to be able to see from zygote to baby to like sending it off to college, how a show is born and birthed and cared for and loved and grown has been, it's honestly, I'm like, life is amazing.
I wish that the crew that we work with got to be here and watch that episode with you guys, because we don't get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
To sit and watch our show with an audience is something that we don't do. We just literally, it's mostly just the two of us with in front of our TV. But just to see, you know, and experience the reaction, I mean, that is, it doesn't, I don't know what could be better than that.
Right. Well, I have to tell you, it when I think about y'all, it just makes me happy, because you guys, you're fun and you know what you're doing, and well, you know, not everybody does. You know, sometimes you watch things and you think, geez, I wish they were better. You know, and there's nothing you could do about it. Yeah, you know. You know, and that didn't happen with you all. And that's what you're getting from these guys. What you're, you know, I keep coming back to that, because it's not an easy thing to pull off. Getting it right for more than a year is hard to pull off. And the two of you did this. The two of you. You had lots of folks working there, but this comes out of the, God bless you. You okay? You know, it came out of you all, you know, and that's, you know, when we talk about, you know, who does what on television or in the films or you know, anywhere, it has to come out of something really steady. And what you both brought with all of this time that you spent together was something that was rock steady. And you were able to, people who you were comfortable being around, who you wanted to be around. And there were a lot of women on the set. You all put a lot of women to work. Talk about that a little bit for me.
Oh my God, it is such a pleasure to employ women, because women honestly do a better job, typically. And I'm not even being cunty. I'm being like data. This is from like personal empirical data. Like men do good jobs, and I love men, adorable, you know what I mean? Delicious. But because women have fewer opportunities, you know, any marginalized people have to, if you want to like bust through, you got to step up to the plate beyond, you know? Like some people have more chances and can you know, remain average. Some people don't have the chance, so they have to rise up. And I really find that women tend to, because we're trained to serve others. Mm-hmm. And when you point that attitude of service, that practice. I mean, that lifelong learning of how to serve others and run a home. And, I mean, we don't even know what we're taught. And to sorry and thank you, please. We're just so trained like soldiers to serve, serve, serve. And to then serve yourself or to serve women, you know what I mean? For the other women that we hired, but it felt like this one sort of purpose we were all serving. It felt just so powerful and rock steady.
Yeah. One of the other interesting things for me, go ahead.
Restaurant.
Is that, there have been powerful women all through the industry. Why do you think they didn't do what you did?
You mean bringing other women?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
don't know.
I'll use an example of a DP,
Yeah.
cinematographer job. One of the most important jobs in the industry.
Perhaps the most important.
Perhaps, yes. The eyes, they're the connector of everything, kind of. And there is statistically way less women in the field. But we had 3 DPs throughout the course of the series. And until this past season, it was men. And it was sort of because that was what was mostly
Available,
presented to us.
Right.
And it was easier to hire a man for that role because there were so many more.
Right.
And we really wanted a woman. And I think that you do have to want and do that. You have to really make everyone aware that you want that and make it happen, or it won't happen. Right?
Yeah. And I also, give it up.
It won't. You have to like repetition of diversity and all of it.
I also think because this project was about the love story between 2 female friends, that we were so excited to include more women in that. It's not one person and you're serving the image of one woman, which we've seen a lot of. I think this is a really Broad City is like a rare. That's a rare story that you don't really see depicted often, and it's usually, if it is depicted, it's often insulting. And I think because it was the 2 of us and this seeking out of women to work for you that you're talking about, it took 2 women, years after years after year. It wasn't easy. Directors, we had to fight for every woman that we hired.
There would often be like, we would be in a meeting with people and we'd be like, and then we would go back to our office and we would be like, hold on. Like, and we would have to go through the whole thing and figure out the game plan, the 2 of us, and then go back and be like, no, this is what we want.
Because, women aren't meant to believe that they are crazy, especially the smarter and more talented they are. And we go and lock ourselves in and we're like, we're not fucking crazy. We're fucking geniuses, And because we had each other, I think that's why, because we had each other. And another thing I just want to say before I knew your question was about including other women, just like why do we think we, I don't know, that we were the ones to pull this off. I gotta say, it's also just timing. The world, we're so lucky that the timing. I think we were also inclusive because we started so young. But we stand, it's like, we gotta say, we're freaking out backstage, like, Whoopi fucking Goldberg. It's like we stand on your shoulders, literally. Give it up.
Truly.
It's also the timing. It's the timing. We've had we met in 2009. The show's on Comedy Central 2014. It took 5 years. And during that time, it's also timing that we feel blessed to be surfing that culture wave, man.
Well, so all this time you've been the bosses. You've run everything. You've made the decision. What is it going to be like when somebody else tries to boss you?
I don't like the sound of that. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've both done other things. I think just as as actors, right? But it very quickly, like brief roles.
I find it very uncomfortable to act on another set because you're like,
Yes.
am I pretty? Am I funny? Am I cool? It's like so like it's too much time for me. You know, like there's too much time sitting in my hands. It makes me nervous.
I'm also like, it's very difficult to not be like, okay, well, we'll put it back here for continuity, and then, I'm like, I'm still doing all the things. I'm
Right.
like, well, should we? And I'm like,
Right.
no, you go. I'll say here, and tell me what to do. It's hard. It's really hard to let go of all those roles
Right.
we've just like trained ourselves to pay attention to. I mean, I think personally, I'm excited to to have to do that, to have to focus on one,
Right.
and see what that's like.
I really like
Scary.
I do think it's a strength. You know, I'm amazed by actors who, especially like on movies, it's like so, it's not like TV, you have this like schedule throughout the year, but movies to show up, actors are so insecure. I find it really scary and a strength to not have to control everything. I'm like, am I crazy that I have to control everything? It's not. I don't think it's better. It
No,
just is what it is right now.
We are a little.
It's like too much. I would like to try that, but I don't know that I will.
Do you feel that way because you're a writer as well? Like when you are doing a role that you have a hard time not getting in there?
No, I'm really kind of easy, you know.
I knew it.
Because because for me it's always been characters. It's also there are always people in my head that I can slip into, that somebody will say, oh yeah, that's close to what I want. It's like, okay, and you do what you need to do. But it also is, I've had a lot more time with it. It took a little while to get used to someone trying to explain to me how to play a character, when in my mind that's what I know how to do best, and I'm not sure you know how to do this. But you're an asshole if you say that. So you have to try to find that balance, which sometimes I find, sometimes I'm just an asshole. One of the things that I also loved is that you all had this amazing documentary happening at the same time. What made you decide to put a documentary together also?
It was really Comedy Central. That was totally them. And at times I was like, guys, I can't handle you being here right now. Especially when I was directing and then having to act at the same time. I would see like the document, like it was a thing where I am so happy they pushed it
Right.
at those moments, because to be honest, sometimes it like stressed me out. And then I watched this and I am so thankful and grateful that they came up with that and loved it and really like invested time in our crew and got to know everyone and became part of the crew. And that team at Comedy Central fucking knocked it out of the park. I mean, that.
Yeah, give it up for
so
Comedy
special.
Central. That
Yeah.
is so special to us.
Yeah, I mean, they don't.
That piece really
that.
that piece really illustrates how comedy. We always joke that we're the biggest fans of Broad City because we're like, do you know the part about the fig in the hole? The fig that she calls back to the fig later. We're like such nerds for the show, and Comedy Central was the same way. Like the whole step of the way, we were all like fangirls about ourselves and each other.
Yeah.
And especially this year, I was saying to the BTS, the behind the scenes crew, that they helped us year after year after year. They helped us process what was going on. I remember, I don't know, just throughout the years, it's been like almost this confessional, like Real World or whatever, like just taking me a second to take a moment and think about the bigger picture that I couldn't otherwise, because we were running around, zooming over here and whatever, talking to somebody, and we're like just buried in the work. I feel so lucky and grateful that they put that together.
It's like I feel as though I haven't journaled enough throughout this experience, and they they gave that to me.
Right.
When I'm older, I can watch that,
Yeah.
and it's a similar thing.
It's kind of great to have the what was, and to be able to look back in a year or two or three or four and be able to say, oh, that's what, yeah, this is what we did. Because sometimes you have to watch and you have to look behind you to see, really what the journey's been. Because most, it goes really fast. You wake up and suddenly, my God, you're like 30. Or 60, which is
A
really
trip.
freaky.
Yeah. That
When
is
in your mind you're like 12. So it's a good thing to be able to look back on. So, do you think that you will try to chronicle the next things that you do, whether you do them together or separately? Will that be part of your journey?
I paused therapy for a few months because I have been doing a couple projects in a row, and I'm like, I can't do the other project that is scheduling therapy. So I've been trying to journal, but it's been nice actually to have a second where it's the thoughts naturally come up in my head rather than this scheduled time. But I've been meaning to journal more, but it's also there's so much going on. I can't capture it fast enough, and the hand muscles don't work anymore, so because we don't write anything. But I do really look forward to specifically processing it in therapy and also journaling that, I think, in the summer.
I upped therapy since, so I'm good on that front. But I
Doubling up, come on.
but I think the interesting thing, and this has been throughout the entirety of the series, Ilana and I have always done individual things throughout. But now, even though we have things together still, we have more apart.
Right.
And so I almost think that we are documenting it for each other because I'm like, Ilana, okay, so I did this. We've never had more to tell each other.
Right.
Right.
I'm like, dude, this whole thing just happened this week. And I can be that journal.
God, we
you.
kept laughing. I mean, year after year, we'd say, somebody told me this thing,
Cheeseball.
and the other one would go, I did. I told you the thing.
Dude, I just heard this crazy
I
thing.
told you.
It was like,
I told you the genius story that you're retelling back to me. And it's really fresh and exciting that it's someone else, you're right. It's it has been so sweet and delicious, even though sad, seriously, it's been bittersweet for us too, but also the space to be sisters and that space to be just friends has been so delicious. And that is the chronicling. It's such a good point. Another smart, eloquent, beautiful point Abbi Jacobson made.
Appreciate it.
But it's so true. It's so nice to process and then not under a deadline.
Yes.
Yeah.
To actually have a thought in thought time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Real life.
You also had some really great guests on your show.
We did.
Hello. Yeah, we did. Crazy guests.
But yeah, I'm supposed to ask about me, but I'm interested in the other folks because how did we get together?
You incredibly said yes to us asking you to do it.
We
could not
You
believe
emailed me or something, right? You
Whoopi's
sent
like,
me a note.
yep, when, where? We're like, what? Are you we were just saying this on this other, I don't know, some whatever interview for the Emmy campaign. But we were just talking about our guest stars. It's everybody's so, it seems like they're random, but it's actually this group of very niche, finger on the pulse
People like yourself.
Yeah, that's right. But you knew the show, and it was third season. Nobody, and you had seen it. You're like, that was first of all crazy to us, but also, I don't know. That's you being on top of what's going on in.
Well, I also hadn't seen anybody do what I knew how to do. You know, there are a lot of really good, fine actors out there, but there are not a lot of improv people, not a lot of people who know how to flow. And so when my kids said, you might want to watch this, I think these folks get you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool. And so I watched them. And then when I called her and said, guess what? She's like, no, they didn't. I say, yes, they did.
Ah!
Yes, they did. And to be able to go and have some fun and you know, actually laugh. It was fun to be someplace and have a good time. And I wondered if you realized that you were giving a good time to Alan Cumming or to Clea Duvall or Mark Consuelos. I mean, just a couple of folks. I mean, did they all have the same sort of response of, thank you. It's just good to have some fun.
I think, you know, only in the last couple seasons did we allow ourselves to even think that that could be a thing, because we were so thankful that these incredible talents would be on the show.
Right.
And then the more we got comfortable, I think we realized, wow, they're having fun.
And it's like, you know, I guess the process of Broad City, like, it feels like this magical fairy tale in our lives, and other, you know, other jobs can feel like gigs, I guess, and it felt like we were sort of bringing people into this magical, trippy little experience, but it's pretty vulnerable and raw to do Broad City. You know, it's a cheap set. It's like you're standing around. People are really nice and really engaged, but it's not, it's so, I don't know, like, filthy. It's like New York, you know, and it's so quick
You're not
and
treated
fast.
like, it's not luxurious in
People
any
are like
way.
shoulder checking you as you're acting, you know. It's, and it, I
You're
think,
given a closet to like change into.
and that's also very New York too. Like, I always say, like, biking around New York, I feel like I'm like 12, because you're just like, and it's just like you're biking to your friend's house. It just feels, you know, like everything just feels so crazy here, and it felt so like after school, I think, for people who'd been in the business, done gigs where they're like, okay, this one's money, this one's hot factor, this one, you know what I mean? And this was just like, well, how do you feel funniest, Mark? You know, and we always like wrote guest stars. That was another reason I think that our guest stars were so special, because we wrote them with them in mind.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like, who's the most famous person you know, it was like, oh my God, can you imagine RuPaul being my manager, you know, like, you know.
He had so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, watching you two, I unfortunately didn't get to act opposite him, but you two, I mean,
You
the
produced the shit out of
outtakes
him.
of those episodes are,
I mean, even like Guillermo, you know, just Guillermo Diaz. He's been an actor for
Yeah.
decades. You know, I mean, he's so, and like half-baked, like just to, and then he knows Broad City, and he's up in Broad City. It's crazy. And then to think of him being with Arturo, it was like, oh my God, that's so hot. How many kissing scenes can we do? You know, it just, we,
Kelly Ripa, Alan Alda. People were like,
Kelly Ripa. You know, Kelly Ripa. I'm like, what do you think? What is like,
Kelly Ripa dropped a thing, a Harry and David. Oh no, a Larry and David. We changed it. Basket out the window. Like, it was nuts.
and those like,
nuts.
those like beefy dudes, and she's like, come on. It was like, oh my God, someone does a morning show, you know? Like, we really liked having this space for people to be naughty, to be like stupid, you know, to be
Themselves.
Yeah, human.
Yeah, it's a great thing. And you were all over the city. You know, all over the city. And so, what's the craziest thing that happened? Can you tell us the craziest thing that happened? That's the question.
Oh, I hadn't. I mean, I thought it's not. I don't know what is a terrible one, but there's a whole episode where Ilana's bike lock gets locked on her, and we're like, she has to wear this thing the whole episode.
Right.
That's the whole episode for her. And then it got locked on her on set. And we were like, what the fuck is wrong with us? Like, we're a bunch of kids making a show because we locked her up. And then
And wait,
called
let me
the
just
fire
say
department.
it was right before we were like, you know, just like practice acting before we rolled, and they're like about to roll. So I'm like, no, let me jam the pen, and it was like, and we were like, and it was like we were toddlers, you know, just like. That's it. We've gotten to be these like old Jews, these babies, you know. We've just like gotten to be all these different versions of ourselves, and that was like 4-year-olds. We were like, no. That was funny. I mean,
Like crazy stuff.
I just acting with Garrel. I mean, that was like the oldest person I ever met. This woman, Virginia Robinson, who passed away a year or two ago, that was the coolest thing. This woman was like 97, holding a dildo, waving a dildo around for us, and water restricting so she doesn't have to pee during the post office scene. That was wild to see that. I was like, you know, that was like art. That was clinging on for art. That was incredible.
But that's the dream, right? At 97. You want to be waving a dildo around. You know
That's
what I mean?
the damn dream. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Because it's like you're present. You're still here. And yes, you know what this is.
That's right.
Oh, she was like she knew exactly what. She was so good.
What else?
Well, let's talk about the clothing. Because fashion plays. I was just in my head watching you guys. Tell us about fashion and music as it pertains to this show, because it's one. Your choices are great. Music supervisor has to be off the hook, and the fashion is brilliant. So tell me everything.
Okay, starting with the fashion, Stacy Greenbaum was the wardrobe designer for Broad City, and this is a woman who, like us, had not been in this role before, but rose to meet us and rose to the challenge and became bigger than I think she knew she was initially, and came with the best presentation, the most prepared, had the best answers for our questions, and really helped us go to the opposite ends of the spectrum of who we are so that we could contrast most. And just like look into the process is like we'd start each season and talk about the bigger picture vibe, and it changed slightly each season, and changed as we changed too, which was always like creepy to have to assess yourself and be honest about who you are now, you know, compared to last year. And Stacey would come with clothes, and we'd do fittings and give notes and do that 3 or 4 times until we got the wardrobe locked.
But it was, I think maybe, well, no, you know, Ilana's wardrobe on the show is just another level. Like, even when we were sitting over there, and I'm like, what are you fucking wearing? No, it's just pure joy.
Yes.
Embodied.
Yes.
You know, and we would talk a lot because it was such a personal experience, because a big thing, you gotta get out of here. The big thing, it's time, gotta get out.
Raz here, come on.
A big thing was Abbi and Ilana are versions of us. They're amplified versions of us in one way or the other. But we don't want them to be us. And the wardrobe was the closest, the visual.
Right.
And so it was like, it was hard for me, where I was like, this is too me. I need this to go. She has to wear, like, it was very tricky. And then we gave so much of our clothes to the characters.
Right.
So much of it was our stuff that when we were doing improv. And I mean, we really wanted to, this was inspired by Roseanne. We can't talk about that. But we loved on that show how
Once upon a time,
we
you know.
wore clothes like we all do.
Yeah.
And we didn't see
The
okay.
blue dress, that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, the dress. I didn't hear. I was like, you didn't see that on TV or anything. And
no.
so that was a big deal. If you crazily buy a $400 dress, you're going to wear that every single time.
I mean,
go
even
anywhere
even
nice.
stupid T-shirts. We were
Yeah,
just
we
like,
just wanted to repurpose shoes, everything.
like I remember when Stacy made us, made me. I had like these like holy, disgusting, filthy white Converse, and she was like, "We can recreate this, please." You know, I'm like, the like ball of my foot is on the concrete. She's like,
Nope,
just.
it's gotta be yours.
I also want to say with wardrobe that there's other parts of wardrobe, which is the shoppers. You know, Stacey has these ideas, but people go out and shop all fucking day and get what's like in the stores that people are buying. You know, Forever 21, Forever, you know, whatever, Top Shop, whatever. And then they're bringing mountains of clothes, and then we like choose a few and they return them. I mean, it's like such a process. And then our costumer, Lucy, too, just. You know, there's someone who is like readjusting our clothes to try to be flattering, even though
Need
they're
her tonight,
they're
you
modern
know?
clown garb, and also be continuous. You know, and each scene, Lucy would be like, "Well, you're a little messed up from like the bike ride." You know, like our crew would think about stuff that we couldn't even think of. So it really just to illustrate what a group effort it is.
Talk about the music, because the
Oof.
music is amazing.
So our Matt FX, Matt Feldman.
LOL.
Matt FX is our music supervisor. He is 20.
He's now like 28, but he
Oh,
was
he's now
22.
28.
This
He's
is another
so
first-time department
No, he
head.
was like, I think he was like 20.
No, that's like
21.
illegal.
Yeah, that's
He doesn't have like worker papers.
Yeah, yeah,
He's like in college. He was like 21,
but
22.
he had never this was a huge job for him, and he.
I mean,
was
had
just-
not done, was like an like idiot. You know what I mean? Like a kid, like us. I mean, idiots. Like he
brought
was
in
like
a laptop and it was all smashed to like, and he was playing us tracks, and we were both like. We can't even see your screen, dude. Like,
And this boy has grown seriously into a man who is an excellent music supervisor, making content, DJing. Like, it has built his career. This was another person who was like us, doing this for the first time, but ready to rise to the opportunity and become. You can't imagine any other music supervisor on Broad City. You can't imagine another wardrobe designer on Broad City. And Matt, he just knows everything that is cool musically. Here's a good one, is in 501. So I'm 32, Abby's 35. We're like, you know what song is really funny? Sarah McLachlan. Matt's like,
for the butt.
who?
video.
You know what I mean? Who are you? And we were like, no, what? Yeah, for the butt video. It's like, what's the arms of the angel? That's what we wanted for the butt video.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know. I just have this pitch, just like Hear Me Out. And it was that song. And Matt
Five
knows
for
it.
fighting.
He's younger than us. He knows it from a car commercial, this song. You know, he doesn't even know it from high school radio or whatever. He just is younger than us and kept, when you talk about the show like ending too soon, it's like we needed youth blood to tell us what the kids were, you know what I mean? Because we're not that. We're like, Sarah McLachlan, right?
He did have a couple blind spots.
Right.
In certain episodes, we'd be like, okay, so we need something like Counting Crows or like, and he's like, don't know, like where, what? And he like couldn't find.
I mean, here's another one. Season 4, the J-Lo, Get Right. That was such a good song for season 4.
Wasn't even in the, it was just our like the.
Getting excited. I love it.
Sometimes we do this and you just crack up at me. It was like just the campaign for season 4. It wasn't even in the.
But we were like, something classic.
Yeah.
And he's like, what does classic mean? You know, and we're like 90s or whatever. But that was his era, and he's closer to the character's age, and that was just a perfect song.
I will say, before we hired Matt FX, we hired this big time music supervisor out in LA, and we needed to find the song. We
Right.
needed the Broad City theme song,
Right.
and they could not find a song. And
Well,
I-
they didn't care,
they didn't
honestly,
care.
because we had no money, so there was. He was used to like HBO shows, and it's like, you know, the show is about hustle from process to product, what you see on the screen. And he was like, "What? You didn't?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, didn't care."
and my friend from camp, David Chait,
Whoop whoop!
um,
David Chait, baby.
was like, very in the music scene, like on his own. Like he had like a full-time job doing something else, and he was just
Right.
really like out and about. And I was like, Dave, we are desperate. I need 7 seconds. We don't know what to do. And in less than 24 hours, Dave sent us back the 7 seconds that is our theme song.
Yeah. You know what I can tell you about that guy that didn't give a shit before? He's gonna be desperate to work with y'all now.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I'm going to open this up to audience questions.
Cool. Okay,
oh,
Whoopi
good,
Goldberg,
lights
you know
are
what I mean?
coming up.
Okay, Whoopi Goldberg.
So
Okay, I have a question first. Where are my parents? There they are! Yay! Eve's gonna get you after the show. Eve's gonna get you after the show.
So here's what I'm going to tell you about the questions. If you have them, come right now. Probably 15 on this side and 15 on this side. Yeah. Okay, y'all ready to settle? Okay. Question on this side.
Tell us your names when you like say hi.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Em.
Hey, Em.
So you had mentioned, you started off at UCB and you had written this web series maybe to hoping to get a staffing job somewhere writing. So when you started at UCB, did you want to act? Did you want to write? Did you want to direct? And now, having done all of those, what is your focus mostly on in the future?
I think at UCB, I wanted to act. I moved here to act. And then I realized I needed to write to act because I needed to write my own stuff. Man, I don't know. I think if someone says to me, what do you do? I say I'm a writer. Because I think for me, being an actor and a director, I can't take away the writer part.
Whoop whoop! New York Times best-selling author Abbi Jacobson. How
But
many
I
times,
can't
Abbi?
take that.
2, 3?
Huh?
Literally, how many times have you been on the New York Times bestseller list?
What?
Honestly, multiple times.
One was an illustrated book.
Doesn't matter.
So it's a different whatever. Anyway,
Best
no, I
selling
think I
illustrated
can't
book?
take away the writer part because that helps both the other roles so much. So I guess writing is the core for me.
Yeah, I like the multi-hyphenate vibes because of my need to control. I when I started in comedy, I was doing sketch, improv, and stand-up. I was just like getting the vibes, networking, but not like gross, like honestly making like friends, you know what I mean? But I realized later, oh my gosh, that's what networking is, I guess. And I think of myself as a comedian, but I still, all of it is part of the comedy.
We were also talking about the word artist recently. You said that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that too, like lately, I mean, I think with Broad City in the rear view, I'm also like more comfortable and like taking the space of being an artist and saying that. So I say comedian and I'm like getting into artist.
It's a good thing. Yeah. Hello.
Hi, I'm Sally. I have 2 questions. They're gonna be really quick. Ilana, in season 5, you guys talk about like bra sizes a lot, and as someone who has like really big chests too, where do you buy your bras? And then, Abbi, how do you set up your sketchbook for when you're just sketching and stuff? Like,
How do you what your sketchbook?
Like set up your sketchbook for like visual storytelling and stuff.
Oh my God, I love that question. Bras, I'm gonna say like walk hole. I would say walk hole's very sturdy, and I would say for big boobs, I like underwire and lace, not a formed cup. Formed cup, I'm like rearranging all the time. You know what I mean?
Like, what do you wear for strapless?
Strapless, LOL, go braless. You know what I mean? No. Strapless, no. Just swing them titties. No. And sometimes I do chill bras, and it's like, don't take a jog. You know what I mean?
Sketchbook. I wish I set up a sketchbook at this point in my life. If I could it's just a piece of paper and I'm going. If I go, yeah. I wish you're inspiring me. I need to answer that better.
Thank you, Sally.
Cool. Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
my name's Noah. I actually just got back from leading a birthright trip in Israel, and thank you, Jews. Your birthright episode is one of my favorites, and I was wondering, have you guys been on birthright, or are you ever planning to do it? Because you still can.
I haven't been to Israel. I'm torn, you know what I mean? I want to go when I can go in a way that I feel politically comfortable representing my trip. Very torn. I'm not like, Israel, 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 because I'm Jewish, you know what I mean? I'm like, yikes, y'all, you know? So I'm going to, like, go when I can go with, like, Amy Goodman from Democracy Now! Literally, I'm like, will you take me to Israel, Amy Goodman? Because then I'll feel comfortable about going.
And I went before I was as politically conscious.
But even
I
still, you
went.
had a good time.
I went right at the cutoff. I did birthright because I was like, "This is a free trip." I honestly was like, I don't think I would ever go if I don't go on this. So yeah, a lot of that was based on me going on birthright.
But, like, I know it's stunning and I want to go. I'm just like, I got to think it out. But I know it's, like, magical.
Good question. Hey, sir.
Hi, I'm Terrence. As characters, a lot of the show surrounds you guys getting high and experiencing the city. Right now, what's your favorite activity to do while you get high in the city?
I really like to just bike slow.
You know what? I actually don't like getting high and going out in the city. I like getting high and staying in.
Cuddle puddle.
Huh?
Cuddle puddle.
Cuddle puddle?
Thanks, Terrence. Woo! Oh my God, 2 girls. Or whatever, 2 people.
So we
Who
are,
knows, you
we
know what
are
I mean?
you guys. So I'm Becky.
I'm Claire.
As 2 Jewish broke girls just trying to make a buck in New York.
Yes. We wanted to know how you guys incorporated Jewish life.
It was
Jewish
kind of the first time
culture.
that we felt represented in a TV show.
Yeah.
Woo! Happy to hear that. Thank you. I think we practice our Judaism by learning comedy. You know, I really like enjoy Jewish stuff, but I really, so far, my spirituality has been comedy, but it feels very aligned, you know, the questioning. Also, Jews are all up in comedy. I mean, I really think that's like, we practice that like it was our religion.
This is the most Jewish thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Ever
Be
will
my
ever
friend.
do. I can't get more Jewish.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. I think becoming friends with you really upped my Jewish.
I was like, hey, you're a Jew, love it, you know, just.
That was a big thing, the recurring joke of how Ilana's like, you're not Jewish, is like when I brought her home, she was like, what is this? There's like American flags.
I was like,
that's not
dude,
a
this
Jewish-
is so Americana mainline. She's like, what are you talking about? I go, look. And down like the main drag, it was like American flags, like waving, like all starchy, waving down the street. She was like, I see, Americana, I see. And, you know, we've been exploring our Jewishness through like being told what it looks like. We didn't realize, you know, we thought we were white girls. We didn't realize how Jewy we were and what the difference is. You know, we were like, freaking white girls. And it was like, yeah, but you guys are Jewy and queer. You know, it was like, ooh, it was, we have been learning through the show ourselves, really. And from you too. Thanks.
Hello.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Austin. Whoopi, wow.
Yeah.
Like, growing up, like, I only watched Sister Act over and over and over. And so truly I feel so we are not worthy right now. But same
yeah.
girls. No, just kidding.
No,
I
I'm
love
loving
Broad
it.
City.
I'm loving it.
I love Broad City too, and I wanted to ask 2 questions, 2 for you guys, and you can answer Whoopi on the second question. The first question is, if you could only show someone 1 episode of Broad City, and like this is our show, and you can say 2 if you need, I would go with my answer's 102, Pussy Word. My favorite episode. And then the second question would be, what was your favorite song when you were 16?
I think I'm gonna just go with my gut. 110 Last Supper would be my choice to show. Oh my gosh. LOLOLOL. I would go with Last Supper for 1 episode to show that for me encompasses Broad City.
Wow, that would maybe be mine as
Oh,
well.
awesome. I love when we're in agreement.
Huh?
I love when we agree.
I think because we talk about that, but we've talked.
It's just so, well, it's because we like thought we weren't gonna get picked up again, so we were like, let's really, I think that's maybe the context of that is why it turned out that way.
One of my favorite cold opens. The cold open alone is kind of a show, where we're the basketball. Yeah. And then what?
At 16? I don't know. What was I
It
doing?
was so long ago. You know.
Mine was probably like Casey Jones. Dead. I was like very like, woo. Yeah, I was very into the Dead and that kind of stuff at 16.
Gosh, I don't know.
Like, weren't you like Beatles and
I was like
Billy
obsessed
Joel?
with like Beatles, Billy Joel, Bob Dylan, Stevie Wonder, Joni Mitchell. I was like, I'm in a different time.
Yeah. Same.
But I was also like maybe like I was into like Fiona Apple's When the Pawn on repeat and like Depressed. You know what I mean? That was fun. So there you go.
Grace Jones.
Grace Jones. Woo! Give it up for Whoopi Goldberg. Yes.
You know.
Hi, I'm Jess.
Wait, can I say something real quick? And I loved both your questions, but I think we should limit it to 1 question a person, just so we get through the line.
It's a good call.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Hi, I'm Jess.
Hi, Jess.
Out of all of the seasons, which moment during filming did you guys have the hardest time keeping in character because you were laughing too much?
Yeah, the finale of season 4, we're in this closet, and this guy we've been following is gonna get us. And Ilana tells me that
Because we had a scavenger hunt earlier in the day, and like I was pretending to be all these different people, and then
Ilana's like, I was like, she's, it's,
Abby went horseback riding.
and she was like, I was the horse. And truly we had gotten a note, like, from multiple people, I think, that they were like, we don't understand this joke. And we were like, we do, and it's staying in, and we're getting it. And that was at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm smiling in the episode. Like, I'm breaking in the dark in the episode, because we couldn't find a take where I was not.
You know, it cracks me up as much as I was the horse. And then she goes, what? What? Thanks, Jess.
Hi, Abbi and Ilana. I'm Ramya.
Hi, Ramya.
And I just want to say that as someone who's, I guess, generally young, but as someone who's born and raised in New York, Broad City is one of the very first shows that I'm like, this gets New York so fucking right. And I knew that when I told someone that I was from Queens, and they're like, where Abby's from? And I was like, yes, and also the millions of other people that live there, but yes. But when writing the show, like, what was that one quintessentially, like, not stereotype, but if you're a New Yorker, you know thing that you were like, this has to be in it? Think about it.
I think the first thing that came to my mind was the cold open of the first episode of season 2, which was the subway. Full subway we walked through, and that was just an amplified version of the subway experience in our minds. And I think we tried to throw in everything we could that makes it wonderful and makes it absolutely disgusting.
I go with that. That's perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Hello.
Mom, yeah.
Hi, I'm Carly. This is something me and my friends always play on our birthdays, but what is your favorite thing about each other, and then what is your least favorite thing about each other? And you have to be honest.
How will you know if they are?
I have a good least favorite.
Sorry.
Well, it's my least favorite thing about Abby is her when she doubts herself. Because I'm like, bitch. But I'm like, bitch, you know. You know what I mean? I'm like, do you know? Or are you for real doubting yourself? Because this is good. Or like today, you know? I was like, come on, bitch. It's just that when I'm like ringing her, and like, you know, I'm like pushing her around. I'm like,
Ilana filmed me doing a self-tape audition at 7:30 in the morning today.
I just want to hang.
And read it and filmed it.
But, you know, Abby's like, I don't know. And I was like, dude, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, even more you. Like, it's just, because it's like in a partnership. You're like, come on, we've built to this. We've built to this. You know that you're amazing, you know? So I get frustrated with that. Gosh. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's like these things are like too broad, you know, but I was just LOL, like in the bathroom to myself, and my like husband's not home for a few days, so I have like more time to think than I've had in 7 years. And I was just talking to myself, and I was like, you're so smart, Abby. But Abby's like, I mean, her brain, she's like, oh, wait, hold on, wait, no, hold on. And she'll like, it's like, bing, you know, it's like Abby's Thomas Edison in her head. You know what I mean? The idea, it's just like, bing. I love that lightning. It's like fucking Doc Brown or something. And, you know, I just love that spark.
That reminds me, once we were flying back from LA, and Ilana can fall asleep anywhere, and so she was in the middle seat, and I was in the aisle.
On Xanax.
Oh, yes, she was on Xanax. And I
So were
actually
you.
was on Xanax, but I was having, like, the adverse reaction, so it wasn't going good for me.
Of course.
Obviously very on game. Anyway, Ilana is falling asleep.
And wait, this is after our first, like, big trip to LA, and my mom was like, is Abby gonna take care of you? She's like, your big sister, right?
And Ilana is out of it, asleep, and she goes, big shish.
Big
Okay,
fish.
my answer, my least favorite and favorite are kind of the same thing about Ilana, because...
Complex.
Huh?
That's complex.
Because Ilana just is doing it right. Like, Ilana is so open and is living like this incredible life. Truly, like the life most filled with love that I know of anyone. And I think it's like, I'm just like, I'm gonna figure myself out. You know, like that's why I'm like, but truly, constantly inspired by how much love you put out and get back.
Couldn't have done it without you. Couldn't have done this without you. 100%. You showed me.
Hi,
Thanks,
I'm
Carly.
Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
Guys.
I
So
love
first
the
of
bag.
all,
She about to leave.
thank
You know what I
you.
mean? Jamie
No,
about to
I just-
scoot
didn't
out
wanna
of here.
I didn't want to
Gonna
leave it
ask
on
your
the
question
floor.
and run
I'm
the
sorry.
fuck out.
I didn't want to make my husband hold it like a schmuck. So
Oh,
I
it's
carried
sweet.
it
It's
up
sweet. And the
myself.
shirt,
Thanks.
great job. Jamie, yes.
But first, I want to say that I'm so relieved to say that you guys, Whoopi, all of you, you are cooler in person than I ever could have thought. And that is such a relief as a fan, because I've been to these things and you're like, shit, they're actually an asshole. But you are great.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But so I'm a Jewish girl from Long Island.
Oh,
Shocker.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Shocker. I don't know.
Where, Jamie? Where from?
Dix Hills.
Oh, gotcha.
Woo! Really? Cool. But I just wanted to say thank you for making us seem like we're actually cool, normal, laid-back people, not like neurotic Woody Allen bad reference types.
Thank
you
you,
know,
Mama.
like
Yes.
you know, Jewish girls smoke weed, we date black guys, we're cool. We're not like whatever. Whatever. But anyway, my question is, so, you know, a lot of people brought up the Jewish thing, but there's a lot of other cultures and races you bring into the show. you brought drag queens and RuPaul to the mainstream, which has always been one of my other favorite shows. And I just wanted to know if that was on purpose or if all this cultural impact that you had just came out of you guys being real and being funny, or if that was an intention of yours.
I think we did become more conscious of the platform because that was just the nature of the game, but that's also, I think it's also just kind of like growing up, and just becoming more aware of yourself. But, we're from segregated white suburbs, the suburbs of Philly and the suburbs of Long Island. And I think one of the biggest draws to New York is the rich diversity, and we both found ourselves dancing in the richness of the delicious diversity in New York City, and we have always been so excited to celebrate that organically. Thank you, Jamie.
So, you're not gonna like this. But you gotta do this. If you all wanna ask a question, you gotta ask your question. You gotta do it fast, okay?
We're gonna do a speed round.
Go, baby.
I got it written down.
All right.
Ready to go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Now.
Okay, riding on the Jewish theme, also Jewish. And I just wanted to know, like, the Florida episode that you did was scary accurate, like frighteningly accurate. So, like, what made you do that, and where'd you get the props?
That was my grandmother's condominium that I grew up going to every year. She had passed away like the year before, like Grandma Esther. It was insane. I was like, yeah, you guys can location scout, but I know where we're gonna fucking shoot it. And I was just talking about the nature of Jews and how, I'm not even gonna fucking get into it right now, but how they've bought into whiteness in ways that pisses me off as a Jew. And in that enclave in Florida, there are some liberal, smart, educated Jews, and then there are some hiding under the umbrella of the patriarchy and voting for Trump. Das dat.
So, hello, my name is Rye. I came out from Seattle, Washington to do 8 days traveling Broad City locations.
I met Rye
I
Sunday night.
had Russ and daughters for breakfast this morning.
I met
I'm
Rye
very
Sunday night
excited.
at my stand-up show, and they were just going tippity top, the tippy bottom,
yeah.
and was like,
Honky
"See you,
dingo!
see you Tuesday." I was like, "Oh my God, Rye!"
Very happy to be here. My biggest thing is, so when the show first came out, I was in a really toxic relationship, and my ex thought that I was into you two, so I couldn't watch the show, which, I mean, she wasn't wrong, but... and now that I am single and exploring myself, I came out to New York to travel locations. And I guess from Abby's perspective and Ilana's perspective, what advice would you give to somebody who is looking to explore themselves? Like, you two are moving on from season 5, closing the show, and you're on your next chapter. So, like, what information would you give, what advice would you give to somebody to pursue their dreams and to continue to find the root of their happiness, traveling?
Gotta
and
go
finding
faster,
themselves?
baby. Gotta go faster.
That's it.
I don't think I can give you any better advice than exactly what you're doing. You're traveling and you're open to finding yourself and finding a more detailed, elaborate, like map of who you are. And I think you're doing it all right. That's what I'm still trying to do.
I think the only thing you could do is more of yourself. Like, learn more about yourself. Do it more your way. But it's so true. You're killing it.
See?
Don't change a thing.
Hey, babe.
Hi, I'm Holly.
Hi, Holly.
This is the best day of my life, and I just want to remember this moment. Thank you so much. So, first of all, thank you so much for just making a show that celebrates women friendships and not pitting them against each other, and have characters who make mistakes and fuck up. I appreciate that so much as a lost 20-something living her best life. Anyway, in terms of season 5, Abby, obviously we've all read your book because we love you. I also have it on audio book, so I hope you get that Audible money. What was the decision? Good. What was the decision to kind of bring in Abby's sexuality into Date a Woman in season 5, and what was that decision like, and how did you go about that, and just all about that? Also, I brought you some Zabar's chocolate babka because you guys deserve it, and you're the best. I'm just gonna leave it on the edge of the stage.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Just like the rest of the seeds of the characters for the show, in between, where are we at here? In between season 3, I like did discover so much about myself and my sexuality, and it was just something that I really wanted to share with the character, and it just made it made so much sense for her, and I think it was something that we were both excited to put on the show, and
It was exciting to us. Like Ilana was like fluid, 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 and Abbi, you wouldn't expect it as much. And we were so excited to show our audience that it's like you can surprise yourself. You know, you can discover things left and right that you didn't know you had in you.
It was one of the moments where it was like, we're not them, and then I was like, no, but maybe a little bit, yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. My question is, how did you guys manage to balance the political and racial dynamics of the show while keeping the comedic dynamics? Specifically talking about the Coming episode with Donald Trump and the Florida episode where you acknowledge guns. I would like to know a little bit about that.
You said that Florida and the guns. You know, that was season 4. Like, I think as we became conscious of the platform and the show was infiltrating the culture, I mean, comedy was changing, you know, wokeness and how, like, some people, like, don't want to talk about that stuff or whatever. When we were diving deeper, I think we were becoming more conscious ourselves of what that was. You know, we didn't even really know, you know, we didn't even honestly realize the show was, like, feminist as a web series. We had to like be told, you know, we didn't even think of ourselves as like 2 girls. It really started just like purely just making comedy. And then I think, you know, seasons 1 and 2 are not as pointedly, I don't know.
Well, we also learned as we made the show. Exactly. And, you know, like an example is Ilana, just an example of how we learned was Ilana wore these Latina earrings. Because Ilana is like so accepting of every race that she could never be racist.
Or is racist. Didn't
Or
know the
is
difference
racist.
between appreciating and appropriating.
And the more we talked about it, we wanted to deal with that cultural appropriation.
Because at first
lean into why Ilana does that and why it's problematic and why, you know, just that's part of her character, and it's okay for the character to fuck up and for us to fuck up.
And at first we were like, Latina? Oh, that's wrong. And it was like, good one? You know, and then we were like, what was that about? And it was cultural appropriation, and we like called it out. So, you know, I guess because also we're young women, we're like, it's okay to make mistakes because we're told we're making them all the time anyway. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jasmine.
Yeah, you guys can all fill the stage. You know, we'll head out and just fill it up.
I would say like roses to the left, but just kidding. Okay.
It's 10:04, and we can only do 2 more. I'm so
sorry.
So
sorry, guys.
So sorry.
Yes.
Hi, I'm
Truly
Marley.
sorry.
Hi, Molly.
Hi. I had initially intended to come up here and ask a really profound question about Judaism because I feel like everyone has, you know, the first time they feel like they see themselves on TV, and watching you guys was kind of that moment for me. But since I feel like that's already been done and we're running out of time, I just wanted to know whether you prefer indica, sativa, or hybrid.
I prefer hybrid.
I think me too. I mix it up, I guess.
Me too. Go ahead, baby.
Woo!
Oh, hi. Hi, I'm Hannah. So I grew up watching a lot of like old musicals, so I couldn't help but wonder about Val, Abby's alter ego. And like, I mean, I grew up watching all of them, so like it looked like Get Happy from Summer Stock, and I just wanted to know like if it was a Judy reference and like where the backstory of that is.
It's exactly that. I tried to mimic that and have Stacy, our wardrobe person, completely copy the wardrobe, and I did not grow up watching old musicals, but I did YouTube, like, I watched that video for some reason. I love that fucking video, that summer stock video with, I mean, you guys gotta Google this video. The guys are like, dude, it's so good. And so that was the song that I was like, I gotta fucking sing this song.
Summer stock, Judy. Garland and Gene Kelly. Yes?
Is he in there?
Yes.
I really only know
Yeah,
the.
I don't know why I'm asking you. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
So, listen. That concludes what we're doing here, but please put your hands together for two of the most innovative women on the planet.
Thank you. And I gotta say, let's give it up separately and specially for Whoopi Goldberg. Woo!